minutes for review. Motion to approve the minutes from July 3rd.
Motion to approve.
All right, very good. All in favor?
Everybody put your hands up.
Everyone's approving. We're unanimous. All right. We have no public comment, unless you would like to give public comment. We have no public comment.
Oh, someone else with you?
No, the camera
The
man.
camera guy?
Yes. He doesn't want to give public comment, apparently. All right, we don't have any recycling updates. Oh, hi, Tom.
Hey, Tom. Hello.
By the way, congratulations, Tom, on your Living Treasure award.
Thank you very much.
If everybody doesn't know, Thomas is now a living treasure of Woodbridge.
Well, living, at least,
All right. So we're just hitting the agenda right at the beginning, Tom. So in terms of recycling updates, the film plastic is kind of on hold because Beecher Building is closed for the summer.
You want to do the elevator?
Then the I actually had spoken to Mika a little bit about recycling receptacles in the town buildings because he really did notice it. Alyssa, after you weren't there with the compost, he was like, hey, why isn't there recycling and compost here? And I was like, that's right. So he was noticing it and feeling bad about the fact that, and particularly the one that gets me and was getting him too is the fact that people are throwing out like the deposit cans and bottles in the trash. That's like, a lot of groups are actually using those as fundraisers right now, particularly since they're the 10 cents, and that's just all getting thrown out, which is really a shame. So we're really going to work on that for the rec stuff especially, but then hopefully year round in the town buildings. Honestly, even if we just pulled those out, that would be great. Maybe that's where we should start. That's probably an easy way to start. At least have it the deposit things. We can worry about cleaning out yogurt containers later. And that way people understand it and they'll just be adding to that later. That's a great idea. Okay. Other than that, in terms of the compost receptacles at other town buildings, Diana had been sort of working on a pilot for that. She talked to people at the pool club to see if they'd be interested. I'm not sure. Interest was kind of medium, we'll say, and they wanted a lot more information and a lot more guarantees of how they could be assisted with it. And it sort of seemed like perhaps they might not be the best place to start, that maybe it is better to start with the senior center and the child care center, the actual town buildings, instead of a private organization like that. So, all right, none of that is, okay.
Oh, interjection
Yes.
real quick. The child care center, the WCC,
Yeah.
we want to try to get them on board for like doing it within the child care program.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, our next door neighbor is on the board. I'll talk to
Okay.
them about it.
That would be excellent. Right, because I'm just thinking it's a town building. It's going to be similar to, when we did it at Beecher. But again, it's going to depend on if they have the capacity to do that. But hopefully, we'll see.
Do we
Again,
have like any funds or anything, or can we say like, hey, we'd really like you to do this, and here are these like bins for you to store in your building?
no, I think maybe what we want to do, it might be a great idea just to start the conversation and then see how they think they can do it versus us like telling them how they have to, maybe.
Okay.
And seeing what they think would be possible, like, you know what, I mean, some of it might just be like seeing what their current sort of like workflow is for food times.
Yeah, like maybe talking to the teachers or the director there.
Right, right, like,
Okay.
what does it look like for them? Because, I don't think food is, I think the kids bring their own food, I have no idea actually, but I'm gonna guess kids bring their own food, so it's like individual lunches and that kind of thing versus like the senior center where it's gonna be food that they're cooking and putting out, so it's gonna be a different situation. So again, I think like that's probably the best place to start with both of those places is seeing what the lay of the land is.
Where would it be?
Okay, I'll get a temperature reading.
Where would they have the receptacles?
Well, so that's the part about all this too. It's like to figure out like what is the best way. What is this something we try to work with Blue Earth and have it like that where it's a company that picks it up? Is this going to be something that they can't do it all, or like, I guess again it's like seeing what is there, how much food waste do they actually have, how much food is produced and food waste is produced on a daily basis. So therefore, how much do they need to get rid of it every week, every day, every whatever, are there any other regulations for them as their own organizations to not have things around? I mean, it's already going in the trash, so it's there, but
Would it make sense to have maybe, I don't know if it's a survey monkey or maybe just a questionnaire about, it would probably be something that just have them keep track of it for a month.
right,
2 weeks. Just how much do you see in a week? How much do you see in 2 weeks? And then because I'm thinking if it's anything like when my kids were young, they'll go to the child care center and then they come home with pretty much everything.
they just don't eat. It's weird.
They eat, right, or they did eat. And again, it's, you said washing yogurt containers, right? So things like that don't get consumed, you're really not dumping that stuff. Like applesauce or things like that. So child care center may not be the place. I think the senior center is probably a good place where we probably see a good amount. I think town hall you see a good amount.
Yeah, right.
Just because you used to go to the board meetings and then after the meeting you'd go to the refrigerator and it'd be full of all the food that the board members didn't eat, or whatever didn't get eaten by the staff the next day probably got tossed out.
Right. Again, I think some of this, I think for something like the Woodbridge, for the senior center where, they have food on I think, daily basis, that's the kind of thing that I think it would benefit from a few of us just going over there and observing, like a couple days, pick a few random days and observe, and then we can, so how we did it at Beecher was, we sort of like understood the patterns in the first place, then went and actually stayed there for a whole week during the lunch times, had the people separate it, stayed with them to separate it, actually weighed it ourselves. I think it's really hard to convince somebody else like that they should do this and then ask them to do those things first. I think it is going to be something that we're going to have to like go in as a pilot, do it at least for a week to convince anybody this is a good idea, to at least say like, look, this is how much food waste was produced in this week, and then get a longer, more accurate pilot, because 1 week is not real, but at least it's enough to get anybody's attention. So anyway, so that is that. So let's think about that. Alyssa, if you could ask your friend on the board to get us in touch with who we would need to understand their food serving process, and then we can also talk to Jeanette Glickman about the senior center food process. Does anybody want to?
I'll be actually, I'm going to go see her on Friday.
I would love it if you could.
So I'll talk
Work
to
on
you
it.
on Friday.
Okay, so we just want to know, like, their process for how does.
I'll talk to her about, how many days a week do they serve food?
Yeah.
If it is every day, and then I know that they do have, they do advertise, maybe once a month they have some big meal that they have.
Right.
Where they invite basically the whole town. But
Right. So the things we sort of need to know is like, what do they use for serving things? What do they use like for plates? Like, is it paper plates? Is it real things that get washed? All those kinds of things to know like what's being thrown out basically.
So I guess, I'll ask her all that.
Thank you.
So I guess the question that I have that I'm not really, I guess is something that I'd like to know for myself is, so this is just a personal note. I'm at my brother's house. Usually on Sundays we have like a Sunday fun day. We all get together at the house and everybody brings food and we just eat. He does not use his dishwasher. He basically washes everything in the sink, and I tell him all the time, "You're wasting so much water washing everything in the sink.
Yeah.
You're running the water and you're washing everything." Is that accurate?
Yes.
So I say we use our dishwasher all the time. We'll load it up, and we have enough dishes that we can keep using dishes till it's full, and then we just run the dishwasher. we actually being sustainable? Are we being conservative if we use paper and plastic every time?
No, I think that ends up you're throwing out a lot more stuff.
That's where I tend to lean. So I would think that if they have the dishwasher at the center and they use that after everyone
Right.
comes and eats, that's more efficient than serving it on paper.
Right, it should be. But for that you have to have like, especially a place like that. I presume it's the same as like the school where it has to be a commercial dishwasher and all that kind of thing.
They'd have institutional plates and
Right.
forks and
Right, and trays and just like the school, I would think.
Yeah, I'll ask for all those questions up front.
Fabulous. All right, thank you.
I have no idea what's coming.
And if you do, just a note, if you do, if he does insist on hand washing, please ask him to don't run it while he's cleaning it, kind of like toothbrushing.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the dishwasher thing actually works because they put a certain amount of water, and a lot of that water is actually reused during the cycle until like the rinse. So that's
Okay.
actually why it's less, even because I think sometimes people think that like, oh, so much water is used in the dishwasher, but it's because it's actually like a reusing
Well, that's
concept.
what I've always believed. I've just never really read,
Why? Yeah.
well, or if it's actually true. You know,
Yeah.
here's something wrong with it. But I also give my brother a hard time. This is what older brothers do.
That is, yes, that's good for you. Good for you. All right, so, the other big things, let's see, make sure, okay, the schedule for lectures is fairly finalized. I'm gonna put it in the chat since everybody's here mostly. Gosh, how did that look? Didn't come out extra beautiful, but September is gonna be CT Rides is gonna do a thing. October is gonna be Run with the regional water. November is heat pumps. Mazzaro wants to partner with us on the heat pumps. December is going to be upcycling for gifting with BJ. January will be energy audits, and we're hoping Diana wants to do that. She doesn't know it yet. Or if she doesn't want to do that, we can figure out another topic. For January, yeah. For February is going to be Recycle CT, except I wanted to check with everybody about this. So the lady who did the lecture last year is no longer with Deep, like she was. So we're back to Cheryl Baldwin would be the one giving it. She does not do Saturdays. So I wanted to check with everybody about how do we feel about just switching that one so that it's not on it. All these other ones are on Saturdays. At the 3 to 4 at the library like we did last year. But if we want to switch to February, to a weeknight, we'd have to ask the library, or if we wanted to do it somewhere else, have another facility to say, where else could we do this? And I'm sure the library probably has the meeting room some night available during February, the whole month. So, does that sound okay to everybody?
Yeah. I'd be interested in the CT rides. When I used to work in Hartford, they came to Hartford to try and get people to commute.
Yeah, they've got a lot of great programs, actually.
Well, I hope they're better than what they had, because I was living in Woodbridge and they had absolutely nothing.
I know. So she's.
From Hartford, from New Haven.
Yeah, no. The lady Grace is her name, Grace Roman. She's fairly new there, and she really wants to talk to us more about. I talked to her a little bit about it before Earth Day, but talking more about different things what would work for Woodbridge. I was trying to give her sort of a flavor for what kind of community this is, how we don't really have like bus service throughout the town, and what are other ways we can do stuff. So she's really willing to troubleshoot different stuff and come up with programs. So far I think a lot of this is going to be like how to avoid, there's like a no or a drive less or something like that challenge, but this will have other resources and programs that are available. So absolutely, definitely, Tom, talk to her about that and see, because they are open to understanding how different communities can use those resources in different ways.
Right, I think part of it, part of it is people don't like, a lot of people, they don't like to be tied down to public transportation.
Exactly.
They're
Or
like,
to ride sharing or anything like that.
I coach, or I do this, or I do that.
Yeah.
Plus, it's, she said to me, well, first I talked to Les, I said, well, you can take the train from New Haven to Hartford. Like, but then I have to drive to New Haven.
Right.
I have to park, then I have to drive, then I take the train to Hartford, and then I get off the train station, and it's going to take me twice as long to get to work.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that. And then there was the only commuter lot was in Milford on 91. So I'd catch a bus from Milford. I'm not going to drive 3/4 of the way.
Right.
Bus.
And then not be able to leave when you need to too because of something else, right?
It's hard not to notice a bunch of vehicles, at least vans, that appear to be, and a lot of them are for Yale New Haven Hospital, I know that, but the commuter parking lot in Orange
Uh-huh.
on 34, I mean, that's my street, I'm on the Woodbridge side, but anyway, there's a lot of action and activity early in the morning.
Well, there is. So there's actually a Yale bus that comes there.
Yes.
And the funny thing, though, about that is, because I've considered taking that actually myself, but it's like the times of, I forget which way it worked out for us. It was like, going would have been fine in the morning, but the rides for the bus to come back are like an hour apart, that like if you miss the bus, like what, that would be horrible.
Right.
So again, there's a lot of things that are like, well, I want it to make sense, but it doesn't actually make sense. So, but I think that all those feedback things are important for them to understand, because like, just like how like we want the feedback from the Woodbridge Center, the Child Care Center, of like, what are you doing now? And why aren't you composting, or why aren't you separating the stuff? So same thing. It's like, well, what would make you ride share? What would make you, or what? Because what I had talked to her about before too was like, maybe we're never going to be a community that is willing to all carpool together to go into work because we really like having our own cars. But maybe there's other ways to, can we extend bus service? Can we get a bus that goes to the camps around here? Can we do other things like that to save driving?
Yeah.
Yeah, camp buses.
Yeah.
It's so true, because before I moved to Woodbridge, I lived in West Haven, and I worked in Manhattan.
Yeah.
So I took the train out of Milford every day
Right.
for 5
Right.
years. So
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, how many people do take the trains from here too?
I'm not adverse to public transportation, but in Connecticut, if you're in Hartford, they have the express bus that goes on 84, that goes west on 84, and then you've got buses that go, east on 84. But there's really not a whole lot coming to New Haven,
Right.
and there never has been. And I think that's part of the failure of the whole public transportation system in Connecticut. I mean, my dad, we grew up in Guilford. He would take the bus from downtown Guilford to downtown New Haven. If I needed the car or something happened,
Yeah.
he would take the bus in. But there's nothing out of Woodbridge.
Right. Right. So anyway, so I think these are great, absolutely. I think we bring this feedback to her. I think she does have some sway in helping to make new programs for our community, so I think we definitely should work with that. And then the March one, I'd contacted Domingo again for composting. I haven't heard back from him. I'll try him another couple times. Sometimes he's out of the country, so then it's like a long time before he responds, and then he responds a lot. So I'll try him again. If we can't get him, we could always work with somebody at Mazzaro for it, or we could do Blue Earth. I just try not to do any private companies if we can help it.
Or RWA had wanted to do that other one as well. I can reach out to Rob.
Oh, I know. I just want a composting one still, though, too, because I feel like that was like our best attended one.
So if we do a composting one,
Yeah.
get a hold of them, would it be possible to have them come with some containers?
To sell?
Yes.
Nobody sells the containers that does compost.
Nobody's.
Do we have any extra ones in Woodbridge?
No, I mean that program was through Scrog, where we sold those before, and So I actually feel after having dealt with the vendor directly, I think, and I don't 100% know, but it seemed very much like he was somebody who like makes T-shirts or water bottles or any of those other kinds of things, like and puts a label on it. So it was like he was somebody who did that kind of stuff, and one of the products just happens to be compost barrels and rain barrels, and so he sold those. And Farmer Steve is my backup here. So the stuff ended up being delivered to Mazzaro. That's where we gave it out for everyone to pick up. The process of doing that was very unpleasant. The vendor was not polite and was especially rude to some of the people at Mazzaro. And Steve and I talked afterwards, and we both had separate experiences that we did not enjoy, let's say. And it was the kind of thing that we were like, let's not work with this group, this guy again.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, no, I get that. It'd just be nice if we have the talk and then say, and now that you're all excited, here we have 4 of them over here.
Right. Well, so the thing about that is when Domingo does the talk, he doesn't really say like use this kind. So like there's so many different kinds of compost barrels. And I do think last time we were able to say, here's how you order them through our thing. I think we did do that and people could sign up. I'm not even sure if anybody did, because I think a lot of the people that were there at the lecture were actually backyard composting,
Already.
Yeah, like in their just...
For more for tips.
Yes, yeah, so, but absolutely, certainly by then we'll have some sort of something. Whether we're doing it ourselves or if Scrog's just doing it, then we can at least turn them over to them to get more stuff, so.
Okay, good.
So that's that, and then April will be Earth Day. So I'm hoping with all of these, I guess we just have to finalize with Diana. I'll come up with a new date for February, and okay that with Cheryl Baldwin. Does anybody have any strong feelings on when that should be or not be, other than not the week that school is off in February?
The recycle one?
Yes, yeah, for February. She has to be during the week. So I'm just saying, do you have strong feelings on a particular time?
Not early February, I'll be at a conference.
Okay, so not early and not that week that... Let's see, let me just see.
I have no restrictions right now.
Not the first week of February.
Okay, I'm looking. Yeah, so the third week is the one that will be no school, so it would either be the second week or the last week. I'll ask her preference, so I'll just have, between her and the library, we'll shoot a dart and see
Okay.
what's available.
And then this Earth Day I should be around unless there's another wedding.
No more weddings, it's not allowed.
No, I want to say I didn't have fun, but
But you did. That's okay. That's okay. But you missed out on fun too. That's all. So the one thing that I do want to do, because we are being proactive this year and actually have the schedule down, I want to start advertising our whole lineup of the lectures. Does anyone want to make a beautiful sign that has all these on it once we get them finally finalized?
I can make a sign.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Is it linked on a website? Do we have a website? The agenda mentioned a link on the website.
I don't know. Let me look at my agenda again.
Videos are available. Can we get these promoted better? Link on website.
Oh, that's for the videos. I think that meant the town website.
Yeah, I think it's the town. I could
So-
see it being, on the town, in the newspaper or on the town
Yeah.
Facebook page.
Right. Oh, I think all of those things. I think especially now because last year we were like flying by the seat of our pants, and every time we'd have a new thing, it would be like, oh, send out this new one. If we can have this all just on one thing, and once, we can do it once, and then again, we can do it every month, but it can be the whole list, and therefore everybody sees it all at once, so you're seeing, maybe we don't make the individual ones, I don't know, maybe we do, I don't know, we can figure that out as we go along, but if we have the whole list, kind of like how they did the summer concerts this year, they just had them all, so that it was like,
Yeah.
okay, you see it ahead of time, you can plan ahead, you're
They all
thinking,
are, not making it up every month.
right,
People will say, it's not March anymore.
Right, right.
They'll see what's on it. I think that's a better idea. Then you up around town.
Right. And then, the other thing too, as I reached out to Bethany Sustainability to ask if they wanted to, co-host or anything, any particular ones, or even, I don't even care if they want to co-host the whole series, like, whatever. I mean, maybe that gets people from Bethany to come down. So they said they were and Eric from up there said he was very interested. I think it was Eric that I was talking to. It was all over email, so. So that he was very interested, but he was going to check. I think their meeting is also tonight or this week, so he was going to check with everybody on what they wanted to do. Because again, I'm thinking like if we can get more people here, and even if we like move one of them to Bethany or something, then so we do. Like again, like this is all about getting people interested and to come to these. So,
Yeah, no, that sounds like a good idea.
so. Is there any other groups that anybody can think of other than like Mazzaro and Bethany to partner with? Do we want to like?
Or any of them?
Yeah. Is there like for Regional Water Authority? Is that? I mean, is like Land Trust or anything like that? Like.
I was gonna suggest Land Trust. I can ask my neighbor
Okay.
about trust, see if they're up to anything.
Right.
I'm on the board for the Woodbridge Park Association, but we don't really do, we have a road race, a trail race in the park,
Yeah.
but and then we have like a spring and fall cleanup,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
so.
Well, we always could consider those two as like putting that on the list. Too, like.
We could certainly partner up with that, so we put that out to the community, as it goes out in our newsletter that we're having a fall and spring cleanup, and then we'll do a walk in the park with Beecher. We've done that in the past.
Well, what we could do too is like do a talk on invasives and then do the cleanup, or something like that.
Any of that stuff would be perfect.
Do you have the dates for this fall and the spring cleanup?
I'll get that for you. I don't have it off
Okay.
the top of my head. And we don't meet every month. We only meet a couple times a year.
Okay, because that would be cool.
And that would be something where sustainability could set up a table, and there's two parks. There's the main park, which is where most of the work is done, and there's also off of Hampton. There's an entrance in Hampton that goes from Hampton to the high school,
Okay.
which is also, but the bulk of it is right there by the town hall.
Yeah.
I think if we set up a table there in the parking lot.
Well, right. No, but how cool would that be to have like here come for the lecture immediately, and now we're gonna go and pull up some, dig up some nice Barbary.
Your trail.
Yeah.
I
So
know-
that way it's like linking the two, much more about learning about it. So then, and not necessarily would everybody do both. Maybe some people only do one or the other, but at least it,
Right, yeah.
It's too bad Laura's not here.
She does love a good Barbary.
She was very, very involved with invasive species when we were.
Yeah.
doing
Oh no. Yeah. Oh, I know.
And I think she might have some tricks up her sleeve. I shouldn't speak for her, but it's possible because I know she did organize a few things.
Yeah. No, but that's a good point too. I like what you said there about like having the tricks up her sleeve, because there are ways to like dig up the Barbary that work and that kind of thing. And I think a lot of people aren't sure on how to do it correctly, and they get yeah. So.
Who were you going to ask about the fall and spring cleanup? I missed.
So I'm in the Woodbridge Park Association board. So I
When-
need to find out when those are.
When is the November one?
November 16th is the heat
Okay,
pump.
Just don't make it around voting time, please.
Nope, it's November 16th. That one's so all the first several
Yeah.
up until December, those are confirmed. The dates, all of these dates are confirmed to the library. They don't, as far as I know, we had to work really hard to wiggle things around in terms of not being on long weekends, because there's like a long weekend in every month now, sudden. So we were trying not to like hit these ones where people are likely going to be away for the whole weekend. Or like the holiday weekends or that kind of thing. So, and we wanted like the upcycle for the gifts and stuff in December, we wanted to be early enough that, so, anyway, yeah, so the November 16th, that should be far enough away from voting and from Thanksgiving. Right in the middle.
Thanks.
Just to think about heat pumps.
The agenda item about videos being available, what do we want?
So the videos are available right now on the YouTube. If you want to put there, I have like a whole gigundous list of things to talk to Allison about, and she has a gigundous list to talk to me about. So we are working on merging those two things. I know that at some point she wanted to update our part of the website for the town, and I think that was part of what was going to happen on there too. And she actually just emailed me today that she was making, I can show you guys, where did it go? Oh no, okay, hold on one sec. She was making like a tip sheet for the different commissions and groups. Where did it go? So here was the one for housing, let's see if we can. So she wants to make one for sustainability too. So I don't know if she was gonna, she just sent me this, and what did she say? She said, so she wants to help us to make one for that. And she was saying like about our sustainability tips, like we already had it. So I don't know if she was planning to use some stuff we've already done, or if she wants more. I'll talk to her more about it this week, I think. But that's, all those kinds of things are very exciting. And we did, just in terms of our other PR, Laura did send the thing into the gardening tips for the Woodbridge Town News this month. I've got to send it out to everybody. So that's there, and it's great. And she also posted it on Woodbridge Watch too, on Facebook too, I saw it. So.
Okay.
It's a nice article.
Yeah. It was very like dynamic. I liked how she did it. It wasn't just a big, paragraph that's hard to read. It had a lot of nice.
Yeah. She's very into that.
Oh, she is, and she's a great gardener. Her garden is astonishing.
Oh, no.
So, all right, so that's all of that. So summer concert updates. We did we had the sustainability table at a couple of them. Then I sort of got overstretched and ended up just doing mostly school supply swaps, which is also happening tonight at the library, which I set up before coming here. If anyone needs some school supplies or binders for any of your needs at home, come to the library, or I can pick some up for you. We have the world supply of binders to give away. So, but the good news of that stuff is a lot of stuff being reused. A lot of people excited about seeing it. They would just come over and say like, oh, we're so happy that things are being reused. So we even got like tons of office supplies from people, not just school supplies. Like there's actually like tons of envelopes and mailing labels and stuff that other people were like, oh, I don't need it for school, I need it for my business. Is that okay? And we were like, we don't care what you're using it for, honestly, as long as you're reusing it. So,
Just recycling, yeah.
yeah. So.
We did more swaps too. Someone had suggested this, and I agree with it. Could we not only have people swaps, but pet swaps? I know we had it at Earth Day.
Yes. So the dog co-op did that. I would say that might be something great to encourage them to do again. So again, like part of this, I don't want to own everything because we're only so many. So the more that we can get other people to be doing as part of their regular things, so like, yeah, maybe they could do that twice a year or something like that instead of just the one time. I like that.
Yeah, and in that way, I think it would address, there are issues with people who do need those things.
Yeah.
When
They had so much stuff too. It was amazing.
Yeah, but I think, that way, we donate a lot of stuff to the town, but they can't always use it either.
Right.
And I'm thinking it would be nice.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
How did the Common Post education go during the concert?
We lost Alyssa here. So Alyssa had she was at 2 of the concerts and she brought a 5-gallon bucket and had it next to the trash and people used it. Yeah. It was actually, it wasn't like it was like bursting forth or anything with compost. It was like, this much stuff in there. But people saw it, they understood, like they could tell what it was, and they did it, which is why, like, then we were like, oh my gosh, we should have gotten another bucket and put it there for the cans, because, like, people would have figured it out. But at that point, that ship had sailed. So yeah, they definitely did it a few times, and then Alyssa she just took that compost back and did it. And then when she couldn't be there, the problem, again, like, we were sort of overstretched in terms of it's like, it's a lot to put out. So like we're also selling the costumes and stuff, and like to put out all the costumes, and then to do the school supply swap, and then to do. It takes a lot of setup and cleanup and everything, and also filling our cars with all this stuff. So so it was not composting at everyone.
Tuesday nights, I'm always at the firehouse.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing with Tuesdays. I could never be there on Tuesdays.
Ah, okay. But again, I mean, like, even so, it's just the sort of thing that, like, all these things, it just takes so much setup and clean. And, like, actually, like, so the last couple ones, one of the days it was so windy, I actually was doing the school supply, I put the school supplies up first, and they were, like, blowing away, and I was like, I'm not getting the costumes out now, because, like, the costumes blow over, actually, when it gets too windy, and, like, that's a mess.
Yeah.
So, I was like, alright, that's not happening, we're done with that. So, anyway, to me, anything we can do is something. And if we don't do it every time, oh well, we did something. So
At least we get people thinking about it.
right, and we know. I would say, like, to me, the most important thing of that too was like people weren't like, oh gosh, I don't know what to do here, and kids especially were like, oh yes, obviously this goes in here, because they knew it from school. So
That's what you need to do is, the adults, it's gonna be harder to get.
Right.
The kids, but if you get the kids at the, the childcare center
Yeah.
or at the concerts or things like that, get the kids thinking about it. Some of the parents are just like, yeah, no, and you just throwing, when I go to the transfer station, I see people throwing stuff away, I'm like, yeah, no, that shouldn't be thrown away.
right,
And, and they're dumping all the cans that are there, the soda cans and the beer cans, and you see them all in with the trash,
yeah,
garbage. It's like,
The Amazon boxes.
Right.
Goes in there, yeah.
it's just a shame.
it's just, but it's like, the old dog new tricks thing. It's like,
Yeah.
we need to get to the younger people, we need to get to, maybe we partner with the high school, the junior high school, and I think if we could, when school starts again, maybe we need to partner with the Board of Ed and say, look, let's sit down with the Board of Ed and let's talk to the Board of Ed at the high school, because I think that's one of the things that we want to try and do is get them at that age to start thinking about it.
Well, they also have a green team at the high school, and which one of the high school teacher who runs it is on the Bethany Sustainability Committee.
Okay. Well,
So, and they do use Havens Harvest at the high school, and they have their own little Havens Harvest team. So that's where they actually take the extra unused food and donate it. So they are doing that part at
like
least.
that person from Bethany, so that we
Yeah,
have, we're working together as two towns.
exactly.
And also, in speaking with Warren at one point, he said he would be willing, if we could get it, to post some kind of a larger sign. When people are there, they'll know if they can recycle things. I think it would be a great incentive, to be very honest with you. They really, they have handouts. If you ask them what's in and out of stuff we gave out at Earth Day, but it's, Connecticut's guidelines. But people don't ask for it. If
Right.
it were there and it hit them right in the face, not literally, but if it did, if they saw it, it might encourage people not to do what you were saying, Tom, to throw things out that shouldn't be. A
Well,
lot of people don't. They really just don't know.
I think some of the hard part is
They don't know or they don't care, but, I work for Liberty Mutual Insurance Company, and when I go to the Boston office, it's really only the Boston office, because the Simsbury office is just, there's too few people there, but when you go to the cafeteria at Liberty in Boston, and you get done with your meal, you walk out, and they've got the trash cans, and it says landfill, recycle,
Wow.
garbage.
Yeah.
So, it's food goes in this one.
Yeah.
This is going to the landfill, and it's like pictures. I mean,
right. I've seen
You know,
ones like that.
It's
Yeah.
not like we don't want to treat them like they're stupid,
Right.
but sometimes you're thinking, okay, landfill, recycle. I mean, it's like pizza boxes. That changes like monthly, is whether pizza is recyclable or whether it's garbage. But I just, and I just saw something the other day on, I don't know, probably Instagram, about how 90% of the plastic that we recycle gets trashed. The the paper that we recycle, if it's got grease on it, it's garbage and it gets tossed. You know, and so there's such a small percentage of what we actually think that we're recycling, or we think we're putting into, and, you know, if you go to the transfer station and you look inside where the paper is,
Mhm.
I gotta tell you, I get so mad when I look in there, it's like, that shouldn't be in there.
Right, it's dirty, it's greasy. They call it clean, if it's not clean, you know, like even with a spot. That's the code for it, they won't use it.
I know.
I mean, I don't know if that's something, you know, again, the sign, if that's, you know, I'm big on signs, but,
Well,
I just don't know.
I've got two concerns with the sign. One, as soon as we make it, it could be wrong. You know, like the stuff changes so much.
Right, but he said that if we make it in some kind of a format where we change it,
Okay.
covered or whatever, no, he knew that, and, what was the other?
My other concern is people don't sort their stuff there. They sort it at home.
Oh, I do, I sort it home, but I sort it properly.
Right, but like it's the kind of thing like they're not gonna go through their trash once they're at the transfer station and pull out the cans. That has to be done at the.
With
you know.
large objects.
Yeah.
Oh, where should I put, where can I put this? Is it metal, is it a rock, you know what I mean? I mean, even if we save the lives of 5 boxes, you know, we've done something. I just wanna contribute to not, you know, trashing everything. And I agree with you, you do see horrible things where they shouldn't. So, I mean, if you're willing to post it. So, even suggested a sandwich form, you know, a sandwich sign. I don't know about that, but anyway.
And if you stand there at the transfer station and approach people, you know, and say that shouldn't go in there, then we're like, you know, then we just anger them, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you walk a fine line to say, look, we're trying to recycle, we're trying to save money for
Right.
the town,
Mhm.
because the stuff we're throwing in, we have to pay to get rid of.
Right.
You know, we're not, you know, and you're talking about the mill rate, you're talking about taxes. Let's start trying to do it the right way.
Right.
And you know, I don't think enough people think, they're not thinking, well, you know, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, it's like, well, we're not gonna be here.
That's a big
That's,
issue.
that's
You're
why
right.
you need to get the kids
Mhm.
to say to their parents and their grandparents, why are you throwing that in the trash? Why don't you throw that in recycle?
Yeah.
So what we need is a quiz for them to take before they can enter the transfer station.
Yeah, all right.
Actually, you know, I mean, why? I wonder. Maybe we could do something like that along with like the. I mean, you start with like new residents when they're getting those tags.
Yeah.
Here's not that you have to like pass a test to do it, but just like here's an information sheet.
Yeah.
Do you understand it?
They have them, allegedly they have them in the.
Well, they do it, but the problem is, I mean, the guys at the transfer station are good. And I gotta tell you, sometimes I show up and I walk up to one of the guys and like, where do you want it? What is this?
Right, right.
You know, and they'll say trash. You know,
But
I'll
that's
throw
what
it
I'm
there.
thinking, yeah, that's where I was going with that sign. You know, it might be easier, they may be reluctant to ask or whatever, and if it's like right in their face, it's like,
I
oh,
don't think the signs are gonna work, Leslie, because it doesn't work for glass already. Like more signs just gonna.
Yeah, that's true.
It's several problems rolled into one. Number one is the education, and number two is changing human behavior. I really think it's more the latter than the former.
Yeah.
Is my guess.
Well, the hard thing again is like people are sorting at home. You got to get them like before, because like again, once something's all mixed up, they're not gonna change it at that point.
Right.
Right, they're not gonna go there and they're gonna, you know, take out half the trash and throw it over here. I mean, when I load up my pickup, when I get there, I just back up and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. Everything goes where it goes. I got everything separated. I don't wanna spend half a day there unless someone catches me and they wanna chit chat. You know, but of course, I'm guilty of that too. But, you know, I think it's all part of the whole thing. People don't think about it enough. And maybe we try to get on the Board of Selectmen agenda to sit down and say, and we, you know, sit down and say, this is who we are, this is what we're doing. And there are a lot of people in town that watch those meetings and just try to have that conversation so that people understand what, what we're trying to do and how it impacted them.
We did a we did a survey, we collected a survey, and we came up with, what was it, like 50% of people were really only interested, it was barely 50% of survey takers were hearing about this composting
Right.
and about a big initiative. Like, I think our community, I just don't think there's that big enough interest for it.
Right.
unfortunately.
Well,
If our survey, if our survey participation is at any rate, it's really low.
I know, but you're making me think of other things too, actually. But hold on, let's get through the agenda and then.
But
Go
one
for
of the items that we skipped is the food waste diversion survey.
Yeah.
The survey with the 133 responses. We need
Yeah.
to analyze still.
We do still need to do that. That still needs to be done. Nothing's happened there.
Signed up. Was that
We-
what
That still needs to happen. It still needs to be analyzed.
needs to be analyzed?
Okay, I need to step away for a second, I'll be right back, okay?
All right, we're gonna hurry through this hopefully.
Okay, just keep going.
All right, so the sustainability tip, we talked about that. I have to send out that newsletter this week. I haven't done that also. All right, sustainable CT, that's the big thing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save that until Tom comes back, hopefully. Let's first talk about what you just made me think of, which is, do we want to do we want to do another fall survey this year? Because Woodbridge Like Me Day is coming, and we're going to be at it October 5th. So do we want to do like last year?
What information are we trying to look for that we didn't with the past surveys?
Well, do we want to see if the information, we could honestly give out the same survey that we did last year and see if we're moving the needle at all?
I'm more a fan of that. I really don't think there's any more information.
Yeah, I don't think we need new information. It would be more like, have you in one sense it's like it's our secret PR in one sense, you know what I mean? It's like, have you attended any of these events? Did you know that we have a lecture series? Did you come to Earth Day? It could be things like that, where it's like, psst, it's happening again, you should come. So.
Yeah, it might just be a new survey for a pulse.
Exactly. And again, just in one sense, that way we have like a year ago and this year, and then they're henceforth to say, look, things are getting better, or no, they're not. No, they're not. People actually care less than they did before. This is disappointing. Or are there any other things that we, like I think last year we had on our survey, it was like, are you interested in these topics? And then we always have the open question of like, what other topics are you interested in? And maybe we find out that, more people are, and there's always like new people in the community and that kind of thing too. So again, I'm not looking to make us do any more work because I think we're all past maxed out at this point. But do we just update last year's survey and have that to fill out? And again, it like gives us a presence. We can give it out at all the lectures that we're already having. We can give it out at Woodbridge Like Me Day, which we're already there. Tom.
It's probably our best bet is to give it out, to do these kind of surveys at the Earth Day events, because that was our biggest turnout.
Yeah.
It was bigger turnout than Woodbridge Like Me, bigger turnout than
Right.
any of the lecture series. Maybe that's the time when we really should be polling the community, because they really showed up for that event.
You think, okay.
I think you're really narrowing it to a specific population of people that truly do care. You know what I mean? I'd like to see it in some kind. I mean, I agree with that, but in addition to that, I'd like to see it be available to just general.
Well, it always has. I mean, we've always put it on social media. We've put it,
Or even town hall.
Yeah.
Folks coming to pay their taxes, whatever. Because I think we're just surveying the same people over and over if we don't. You know what I mean? It's too limited.
Oh gosh, you want to get on it on voting day? That would be.
Oh, please. I think I'm moderating. That's what I'm saying. But I would welcome it, but I can't do it. I would love to just be. I mean, even the school idea is a good idea too, because you're getting every kid, exposure to it.
I mean, the 4th to piggyback off of his emails to take?
Talking about
survey?
Mika's email?
Yeah, Mika's email.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they would include our survey, and I think they have in the past too.
They have?
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't.
Mika, yeah, Mika's been very,
Involved.
Yeah, I'm very supportive with all this.
Yeah.
So yeah, they would definitely, it would be in the survey, it would be like in the town, we're doing this and please fill out this survey. But so we could do that. So then okay, in that case, do we want to do one for the fall or do we want to wait until the spring then to do it? With
I'd
our
rather wait until the spring. I think we asked we had too many surveys. I know we've only had 2 in the last 12 months, but I feel like, especially in the Beecher, the principal newsletter,
Mhm.
felt like it was too much. We just kept asking people for survey.
Okay.
So near the end is, I think it makes more sense to me.
Okay. My only concern with adding more things to Earth Day time is that we're overloaded at Earth Day.
Right. That's what I was gonna say, avoid.
Someone would have to own it.
Right. And I don't know that we have the human power to do that with that, that anyone is. I mean, yes, you could absolutely give that to a high school student to walk around with an iPad and say like, please do this or whatever, and have QR codes, but it just worries me that it would get lost because there's so much other stuff going. Whereas like if we're at Woodbridge like me, like that's our thing. That's all we have to do. We're just like, here's our table and fill out our survey like we did last year. When you had the iPads and that was fantastic and people just did it. Like that's our shtick basically. Whereas at Earth Day.
That makes sense because I think when you're at an event and someone walks up to you with an iPad and says, hey, can I ask you some questions? A lot of people
My intuition is to run. I mean.
I gotta go over here, I gotta go over here, I don't have time for your survey.
Yeah.
We want them to come to the table because they're interested and they're gonna fill out the survey, and if we have a couple of iPads there and they can do it, then I think that's,
Yeah.
it's better that way. I think we get better participation. I don't know, I just think people are still weird about being approached. Or maybe that's just me, I don't know.
No, I think I just wonder if it gets diluted at Earth Day because everything is about that. Whereas for Woodbridge like
Right,
me,
but we're loading up Earth Day though, right? I mean,
yeah. No, I'm just saying like it's diluted with like the survey. You're like, oh, but I don't know if I care about filling out a survey because I want to go get that free tomato plant over there.
right, exactly, yeah.
Whereas like in Woodbridge like me, you're going along and you're like, I do like compost. I will fill out that survey.
Right, yeah. It's a tough line you have to walk.
Right. But I agree, I don't want to oversaturate our surveying. So let's think about it. We have October 5th is Woodbridge Like Me Day. So hopefully if everybody can come sit at the table for, I think it's only 10 till 2 for the event. So if everyone can come for a little bit,
That's right, yeah.
please plan to.
What's the date again?
October 5th. The road race is in the morning and then the Woodbridge Like Me is after that.
Okay.
So I've already requested a table that we'll be sitting at.
So you're right at the road race though, right?
For some reason in my head, it's just so linked to last year when it had to be in the high school. I just keep imagining it at high school again, even though you're exactly right. It's definitely at the town green and it's not going to rain. So I don't know where exactly they'd have us.
You get a lot of people that come from out of town for the Woodbridge road race.
Yeah.
So I guess, and it's always, you like to incentivize people to come over to your table and do that. And unfortunately, because we're not a committee yet, we're not a commission, although you would hope that.
By then we might be.
By then we may be, right. And then maybe, and then we have to work on getting funded. Getting, money so that we can at least, even if it's like $1,000 in the budget, that when we show up for the Woodbridge Road Race or something, we can actually get people to come because we're going to give stuff away.
We have money still from Earth Day.
What was that?
We have money still from Earth Day.
Oh, do we? Okay, good. So yeah, I think that's important too, that, we're able to do that, because if we have stuff to give away, then people are more apt to come over to your
tomato plant is going strong.
My wildflowers are wild.
Yeah.
They survive the storm center.
Sorry, I missed it. I will not miss it.
See?
Sustainable CT, are we ready for sustainable CT?
Yes, yeah, so sustainable CT. So we were at first hoping to aim for August deadline, but Mika and Allison feel that that's not as
Aggressive.
possible. Yeah, that, you know, the summer slide turned out to be quite the slide, I think, within different like I think a lot of commissions didn't end up meeting and that kind of thing. So nonetheless, a lot of the work that we were hoping would get documented this summer has not been. But nonetheless, we're going to aim for the April deadline, which scares me again a little bit because I don't want to have like a million things going as we're preparing for Earth Day because we're, you know, it was a lot of work last year and it's going to be more work as we make it bigger and better every time. So I'm hoping we can front load as much stuff still to be done. We actually had already gotten together a bunch of a spreadsheet worth of all sustainable actions that we listed for the intern that's helping us with this. We have her till August 22nd. And so I've got a few more things to give to her in terms of the equity toolkit, and then she had some more questions about the beach or food diversion and stuff. So we're gonna get all those going. Allison's working on a like sort of action items for all the different commissions to make sure that they get their stuff documented. And then she said she's hoping to come to the September meeting where she can go over like the progress of all of that with us and go for that. But we're hoping we can actually get more than bronze, which I think is not. I honestly, now that I've gone through all of this with the intern that works for Sustainable CT stuff, and like we actually went through each of those items one by one, and I was like, no, we have this. No, we have like. We have most of these things, it's just getting the documentation. We don't even have to do new stuff. We actually are very sustainable here, comparatively. So,
It was tedious.
yeah, it's just tedious. It's just tedious. But the intern, like, knows the secrets of, like, how to get it documented. So, like, she told us, like, we ended up coming up with this list of, like, 20 or 30 things. It was like, oh, no, here's all our sustainable actions. So they, like, filled up a bunch of other stuff. And she's like, yeah, just list them for me and like give a thing of like how many people they reached. So it was like all the lectures, bam. And we knew the numbers vaguely of how many people were there and here's this and here's this one. So now for the equity toolkit, I have to write a whole thing about Earth Day and how we reached all these people and worked on different groups and that kind of thing. So like, but again, it's just a paragraph. That's not that hard. It's just a paragraph. So, that's on my to-do list too. So nonetheless, that'll get done. But yeah, so just keep your ears and eyes open. That's what's gonna, in September, we'll have some more information on where we are with that. So,
Oh, good.
so that's that. And then start thinking about all the Earth Day stuff for next year.
Hillary.
Yes, dear.
Sustainability tip on the Woodbridge Town News.
Yeah.
There was a question, how often to send out duplicate article/info? Are you looking?
At the moment, we were doing it every month. I don't know. I think BJ might have been next after Lore. I'm not even positive on
What
that.
was the next, Chip?
We don't have it listed.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I think BJ was doing it. It might have been from that original spreadsheet, actually. Yeah, I mean the original Word doc.
The ones we've done.
I want a list of the ones we've done.
Right, for that.
Yeah, we did water, we did gardening. We did...
We did recycling, we did gardening, we did, oh wait, we haven't listed,
Yeah, we have that. There was a Word doc that had all of them on it.
yes.
Yeah, that was, you know, I'll have to go back and look.
So if you haven't done one yet, and you're looking to write something, honestly...
I think it was a signed one.
Aha! But you know what, here's the thing, remember, like, it doesn't have to be a thesis on sustainability. It can be, I still vote, like, doing like a crossword or would be fun, you know? Do a word scramble, I don't know, like anything. We don't have to be boring here and make it hard to read.
I have the list, we were advertising the survey,
Yeah.
the heat pumps, we're doing compost/recycling. Beach did pollinator pathway in March.
Oh, she did do hers. Oh, I thought she,
Earth Day,
Okay.
the think anyone did one for April. Gardening was Laura, net zero was Diana, she was supposed to do one. Water conservation was supposed to be Leslie.
She did. Leslie did hers. Yeah.
Diana, and Alyssa did one, I thought. She wrote something.
I think she may have needed more time. And Leslie, do you remember that? Did you like fill in for her? I feel like there was like somebody like was like, oh, I'll do mine afterwards. It was either BJ or Alyssa.
Don't remember who said that.
Yeah.
But I do remember it was mentioned.
Do we still want articles?
Wasn't there one for me, or no?
I think you were just assigned like some month. I think it was like you, Alyssa.
Yeah, Anita, Alyssa, and Todd.
Yeah, we're gonna do the April one. And then I think we ended up just doing like a please come to Earth Day, like an Earth Day ad, and we didn't do a full article.
All right, let me think about it, and maybe try and come up with something that.
If you want to do it in regards to the park stuff and do like a little invasive thing,
Or trails, or
yeah. Or whatever floats your boat, honestly. A word search on all the invasive species of woodbridge. There you go.
I wanted to do the pollinator pathway, but she grabbed that before I did.
Don't worry, I don't think anyone's gonna be like, oh, this whole thing is just about pollinator pathways. I'm not sure she actually, for some reason, that might have been the one that was skipped.
I think we were assigned it, but I don't think it was done.
Okay, well, maybe I'll grab it. All right, well, we'll see. I'll let me look. See if I can come up with something.
So,
have you ever consider discussing natural resources in terms of, like, okay, if we use up every natural resource the earth has, we're not going to live. Someone had, in a discussion online, I had noticed somebody was talking about that and the fact that, and actually became a political thing, about how people don't realize there's just so much the earth has, period. And that we can flip things around and do what we want to do, but, there's just going to be so much gold. There's just going to be so much oil. There's just, you know what I'm saying. And that people just take the earth for granted.
well, that's gonna be a real downer of an article.
Oh, yeah, I just meant to be. Absolutely meant to be.
No one's gonna want to read our stuff anymore after that.
Because
It's going to turn into a political discussion that.
Oh, I agree. I agree. It could very easily, don't start me. It could very easily, but, I think people aren't aware of that. It's kind of like the diamond mining, okay, now we can make diamonds and they're cloned, but there's other, not diamonds, diamonds is a bad example, but, there's just so much left. And I think if people were more aware of that, they might be a little more considerate about how we're wasting everything and just raping the earth. So I just wanted to say it. It was a good article. I could try and find it to let you guys read it. It was good. And it made sense to me. So, if you're interested, I might be able to pursue something like that. I won't make it evil, I promise. And I'll keep politics out of it as much as you're going to have to tie my hands behind my back. But I will. I'll be good. Neutral. There's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, let's just become a commission first.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. But in the meantime, we're wasting things. But that's okay.
All right, hold on. We gotta move this along because I don't want I don't want to go too late, and also I'm worried about my school supplies blowing away at the library and then them never letting me do anything over there again. All right, so Earth Day prep. If everybody can, again, just the usual call to reach out to anybody you did last year. We're working on securing everything ahead of time. Let them know the dates. We did already hire Cyril the Sorcerer again. We, I think, have put in the request for the bus, again, the energy bus that didn't end up happening last year. Hopefully there's no other issues this year. But again, we just want to get and if you think of other things, so Tom, if you've seen other stuff in the last year or thought of anything, check, we may have had it, we may not. But check and let's get the word out and start securing things for that date of April 26th. In terms of, this was, I think, I don't know where that went. We are working on becoming a commission and securing 2 new members. So Tom Huntington is likely going to be joining us. If anyone knows her,
Who's that?
Ton Huntington.
Hun, H-U-N?
No, Huntington is her last name. Yeah, Ton is her first name. Ton, Thanh. Yeah. Had to really think about that. Spelling out loud is not my forte. Oh,
I don't know that one.
okay. She is
Person?
wonderful, and she was supposed to come to tonight, but then she had her kid's birthday party, got in the way. So, but she's gonna come to the September meeting so she can meet everybody, and then we can take a vote for sure on what's happening there. And then we had asked a few other people. That one lady, Masha, had come that one time, but then I haven't heard from her again. I'm hoping we do need to secure everyone on as members before we make it as a commission to secure the number of people that we have on the commission. So if anybody else has any other,
It's definitely happening, Hillary.
as far as I know, yes, but again, the updates of everything from the town has been, we have not been able to meet for a bit, so, as far as I know, yes. Okay, so
So
the
Ton, you said T-H?
A-N-H, Ton.
Okay, Huntington.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can think of anybody.
Yeah, think of anyone, in terms of equal partiness, we're actually, oddly enough, a whole lot of independent people, so, or undecided, or whatever you call it, like, we aren't skewed to one side or the other, so we're pretty okay with adding anybody. But we just want nice people.
It has to be split.
Yeah, but because our majority is actually independent, or as undecided, or whatever you call it, when we're not one or the other.
Okay.
So we're the weird ones, actually, of all the committees and commissions out there, whereas everybody else is like swaying one side or the other. As Democrats and Republicans, our majority is, we're just people who like the earth, what can we say? So we just want, people who like the earth, and we like people who can come to meetings and get stuff done. So
Right, yep.
we're about,
We'll be coming to more meetings. Like you, I overstretch myself.
yeah, I know we're all, I think, guilty of that. Don't worry, we understand. We are all.
Yeah, that was way overstretched. Anyway,
So.
yeah, that sounds good. So I will. So my takeaway is to reach out to Jeanette on Friday
Thank you.
about the senior center and their meals, and then I will think of an article.
Great.
All right.
Again, whatever you want. Like, it doesn't have to be, make this easy for you. You're doing it, so you get to decide.
You also want to talk to Woodbridge Park and Association.
Yes.
About partnering.
And when your fall and spring cleanup is.
And so at the last Earth Day, we did, as part of the Earth Day, we hosted a walk in the park. And it was,
Poorly attended?
yes, yeah, it was like 3 people.
But
So,
3 enthusiastic people, I bet.
yeah, so it may be tough to get someone to commit next year the next Earth Day.
Right, well, again,
They're gonna
I
take
think,
all
yeah,
that, they're
we
gonna-
did learn some lessons from that. There was so much going on Earth Day that it was rough to get, and, well, the biggest part of it, too, that we learned sort of in our, what did we call it, like in the postmortem discussions, was the communication. There's no PA system here.
Oh, yeah.
And so, to be able to be like, hey everyone, the walk's happening now, meet up at wherever. Otherwise, I mean, I didn't know what time it was ever. I didn't know when I knew when Cyril was supposed to be performing, and I could only, if I happened to catch him walking over there. It's just, there was so much going on, and there was no way to let everybody know that, ding, 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 this is happening. Ding, 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 this is happening. So we had, Mika had said, even at the time, because he agreed, he witnessed it firsthand, and he was like, it actually isn't that hard to get some kind of PA system. It's not like before we had to have everything wired. Now you don't have to have everything wired. So That's another thing I want to follow up with them on. I'm like, is that something we can get going for next year? Because it would be huge.
She's now on the board of selectmen.
Yes, she did.
She's also,
Yeah.
she's also on the board of the
Right.
Park Association with me. She was the one who volunteered to do the walk, and at our last meeting at the Park Association, she said, yeah, it was nice, but there were only 3 people. So,
Yeah.
you know, she's a forester, so she knows. I mean, she knows about invasive, she knows about all that stuff. So, yeah, so, you know, and I'm sure she'll be glad to do it again next year.
Yeah. Oh no. She was super excited and wonderful to work with about it. So.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to get more people, but again, like you said, there's so much going on.
Right, and it's hard for people to pick. You know, like I mean, like what a wonderful thing, right? There was so many great things that like. It was major FOMO of anything. You were like, oh my gosh, if I do this, I won't have this. And if I do, like, I didn't even see everything and I was walking all over all the time. So, like, you know, that's why we did say, like, we do think we actually need to stretch it out more. So.
I'll try and work on the fire department this year. I know it was tough last year.
Yes. Again, like, I think all these things are. It's going to be bit by bit. We're going to make it better and better every time, and it's going to be great again, and keep getting greater. So.
Greater and greater.
All right. Anything? Next meeting. Just everybody notice it's not the first Wednesday in September. It's going to be the second Wednesday, September 11th, because there was a conflict for the majority of us that have to be at a thing at the school.
Ooh, September 11th. Sorry.
I think I'm okay on September 11th.
Okay.
I haven't heard about anything for the fire department.
Okay.
It should be okay. But I will definitely get back to everyone before then on my takeaways.
Okay. And then Lonnie, you're gonna make the tentative flyer for the lectures. But we need to, if we're gonna add the fall cleanup or spring cleanup on there too, then we need to secure. I'll start thinking. I mean, we could even have Laura do the invasives talk if she wants to. I'll ask her.
I figure I'll just start it and then.
Yeah, and then we can add.
I'm picturing it as a Canva thing.
That's usually where we go with these. We're very loyal to Canva.
And you wanted my involvement with land trust because I'm losing track. What did you want me to ask of land trust?
Now I don't remember.
Ask your neighbor to partner with any of these lecture series.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, does Land Trust want to partner with any of those ones that are already there? You know, are they interested? Again, they don't have to be. It doesn't matter. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to be inclusive here of how can we like get these groups involved. You know, if I could think of one for housing, honestly, I would throw them on there too. Like I want these other groups that do, because like in learning about the sustainable CT things, there's so many actions we actually like. What came up before was, you know, at one point they were like, oh, the sustainability committee has to do all the sustainable CT things. Well, you know what, we can't. It's actually like, the majority of it has nothing to do with us. And, you know, like, it really is everybody. It does take a village. And we need all these other groups to be aware of, like, their sustainability actions. And so, like, I want to be inclusive of them, and not just, like, on Earth Day, but, like, all the time, so that it is, like, that we make these, that we have them, you know, that we have the dog park co-op do a thing, and that's like just normal that they do a free cycle all the time, that it's not just like, oh, there's those earth lover people again. That it's everybody does it. Hopefully, that's my plan at least.
Get it. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Are we good?
Good.
Motion to adjourn 7:20.
I second that. Or I make it. I'll second. I'll do whatever you want.
All right, we're good. Thank you, everybody.